The committee will please come back to order. Good afternoon. I'm Senator Gary Daniels from District 11. Today we'll be holding a meeting of the Senate Finance Committee. Before we get started, I'll read through a checklist to ensure the meeting that we are holding is in compliance with the right to know law. As chair of the Senate Finance Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04 and its extensions, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which is authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. In accordance with the emergency order, I'm confirming that we are providing public access to the meeting by telephone, with additional access possible by video and other electronic means. We are utilizing Zoom for this electronic meeting. All members of the committee and selected legislative staff have the ability to communicate contemporaneously in this meeting through this platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously watch and or listen to the meeting on Zoom or YouTube, and via phone by following the directions and links provided on the General Court website. In the event the public is on, we are providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anyone has a problem, please email remote-senate@leg.state.nh.us or call 603-271-6931. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting, it will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Finally, let's start the meeting by taking roll call attendance. When each member states his or her presence, please also state where you are and if anyone else is in the room with you during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. We'll call roll. Senator Morse.
Senator Chuck Morse, I'm in the Senate chamber.
Senator Hennessy.
Good afternoon, Erin Hennessy from the beautiful North Country. I am in the Senate chamber.
Senator Susie.
Senator Donna Susie here in the Senate chamber.
Senator Reagan. Present. Senator Bradley.
Good afternoon, Jeb Bradley in the Senate chamber, and I'm sitting in for Senator Gaida, who is out of state.
Senator Rosenwald.
Good afternoon, Cindy Rosenwald from Nashua. I'm actually in Saranac Lake, New York, and my husband is in the room with me.
Thank you. And I am Senator Gary Daniels, and I am in the Senate chambers. I would now invite you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our first order of business today will be going through the surplus statement. I'll look to LBA.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, my name is Michael Kane, and I am in the Senate chamber. I am the Legislative Budget Assistant. Before you, you have 4 documents. One is a surplus statement summary, which basically illustrates that the Senate Finance proposed budget is a balanced budget plan. We also have a full detailed surplus statement on your desk, and it's also on our website that has the governor, House, and Senate positions, as well as the detail behind that. Today, in front of you, you have Amendment 2021-1797S, which is the amendment to House Bill 1A, the operating budget, and then 2021-1799S, which is the amendment to House Bill 2, which is the trailer bill for the operating budget. So I'll just go on a high level. If you go to the surplus statement summary, this is Combined General and Education Trust Fund. As you'll remember, fiscal year 21 began with a negative beginning balance of $54.4 million due to revenues underperforming expectations in fiscal year 2020. Total revenue, including adjustments in 21, about $2.95 billion. Netted against appropriations of $2.885 billion. Leaves a cumulative balance when you take the beginning balance revenue, current year appropriations of about $7.8 million. That is distributed between 2 funds. It's the Education Trust Funds. The portion is $5,496,000 $1,000. And the general fund share was $2,345,000. However, as you know, the rainy day fund statute does require at the end of the biennium, so at the end of the 2021 biennium, any excess funds remaining in the general fund shall be transferred to the rainy day fund. Current rainy day fund balance at the beginning of the year was about 115.5. The proposed Senate budget would move that rainy day fund balance to 117.845 at the end of this fiscal year. Carried forward to fiscal year 22, the beginning balance is the Education Trust Fund balance, which is a non-lapsing continually appropriated fund, $5,496,000. Total revenue, including all adjustments for any tax changes, is $2,801,000,000, and netted against appropriations of $2,686,000,000 leaves a cumulative balance in the General and Education Trust Fund of about $121.082 million. As you remember yesterday, the Senate Finance Committee did take a vote on a transfer to the Highway Fund of $50 million from the General Fund. So that $50 million will be transferred to the Highway Fund in next fiscal year. And that will allow the Highway Fund to end with a positive balance of about a little over $50 million at the end of their biennium, or at the end of the biennium. No transfer to the Rainy Day Fund in 22 because it is the first year of the new biennium. And the ending balance between the General and Education Trust Fund, 71.082 after that Highway Fund transfer, General Fund share 13.941, Education Trust Fund share 57.141. Both those balances, General and Education Trust Fund, carry forward to 23 with a beginning balance of 71.082. Total revenue in 23, including adjustments, about $2.69 billion. That does take into account the $100 million reduction in the statewide property tax, as well as the full year impact of the exemption of the PPP against the business taxes. Netted against appropriations of about $2.7 billion. Cumulative balance for the year, $61 million. Since it is the end of the biennium, the general fund share was 37.3, but that will be transferred to the rainy day fund at the end of 23, which will bring the rainy day fund balance up from the 117.845 projected in 21 up to 155.178 at the end of the biennium. The Education Trust Fund would be left with a balance of $23.7 million, which again is a non-lapsing fund. So this reflects the two amendments in front of you today on House Bill 1 and 2, all lapse assumptions and any other revenue assumptions that the committee discussed this session.
Thank you, Mr. Kane. So we'll first take up Amendment 1797S. This is House Bill 1. Senator Morse.
I'll move House Bill 1.
Senator Morse moves House Bill 1. That's seconded by Senator Hennessy. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll call roll. Senator Morse?
Yes.
Oh, Senator Rosenwald had her hand up.
I'm sorry, Senator Rosenwald.
Thank you. I find that in committee, we did make some improvements to the budget that the House sent, House Bill 1. Particularly, I'd point out in community mental health program support, also in transitional housing for people who are long-term at New Hampshire Hospital, which were funded but not implemented in the current budget. Also pleased we're raising reimbursements in long-term care and that we were able to fund water grants to the communities. But overall, I won't be able to support House Bill 1 for a few reasons, a number of reasons. One, believe it underfunds public education, doesn't account for the expected return of enrollment to pre-pandemic levels, makes it drain on local property taxpayers, even harder by not including fiscal disparity aid. And I think that the one-time cut in the SWEPT will then increase taxes in the following year. The House Bill 1 also underfunds child safety. The department told us they needed the DCYF positions that we did not return the funding to, and it doesn't fund some of the important social service programs such as public health, home visiting, parental assistance that support our at-risk families and children. I'm uncomfortable with the many positions eliminated from Health and Human Services. The department had testified they would not be able to fulfill its mission in some of the programs. And we've eliminated healthcare provider funding for 15,000 low-income individuals. That includes essential cancer care. The underfunding of homeless services is critical. This was up more than 20% even before the pandemic, and it's now even worse. This statewide problem gets really dumped on the cities because that's where the social services are concentrated. So for these and other reasons, Mr. Chairman, unfortunately, I will not be voting for House Bill 1.
Thank you, Senator Rosenwald.
Thank you.
Any further, Senator Susie?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will not repeat all of the things that my colleague from Nashua just stated, but I share all of those concerns, particular emphasis on the education funding lines and certainly the amount of property tax relief that this budget would provide. In addition, I have grave concerns about the amount that we've allocated for the homeless. Our reimbursement rates are extremely low, and I think it's an area that will cause a great deal of difficulty for many of our large communities here. And for those reasons, I also will not be voting for this bill.
Thank you, Senator Susie. Any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of Amendment 1797. Call roll, Senator Morse,
Yes.
Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator Susie,
No.
Senator Reagan, Senator Bradley,
Yes.
Senator Rosenwald,
No,
and the chair votes yes. The motion carries 5-2. Go on to Amendment 1799. And this is on House Bill 2. Senator Morse.
Move on to pass.
Second.
Senator Morse moves ought to pass on Amendment 1799. That's seconded by Senator Hennessy. Discussion. Senator Rosenwald.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did make some important improvements from the House version, and I would note the Medicaid dental benefit being added to House Bill 2. I'm happy that Senator Bradley is sitting in Senate Finance today because this would never have moved forward without his help and support over the years. I'm pleased that we made improvements to the closure of the Sununu Center and the inclusion of children's mental health protections of Senate Bill 157, which continues the work of Senate Bill 14 from last biennium. However, there are still many areas that I'm concerned about in House Bill 2. And the majority of that is that this bill as amended grants more financial advantage to those individuals and businesses who are already successful while not helping the majority of New Hampshire residents. The tax cuts that you've included will benefit individuals and businesses that are already extremely successful while not helping everyday Granite Staters or our small businesses in any way that is meaningful. And these cuts beyond that will cause future cuts to essential programs as those revenues are eliminated, particularly the I&D tax, and public education, health and human services in the future will be affected while we commit to the added high cost of over $50 million of biennium for the new SPU. And I would add here that allowing private prison companies to manage this facility risks the well-being of some very vulnerable people that are our responsibility. The unnecessary tax cuts will lead to future ongoing higher fixed costs but inevitable lower state aid. And this will result in higher property taxes at the local level. While more meals and rooms revenue is shared with municipalities, there's no requirement that this result in reduced local tax rates. I'm convinced that the school voucher program that was added to House Bill 2 will exacerbate the burden on property taxpayers as the public is asked to pay for tuition at private and religious schools. This program never had a financial review in the Senate, but it is believed to risk at least $60 million that will fall on local property taxpayers as the fixed costs remain, but adequacy funding falls. This proposal in House Bill 2 also spends $10 million bailing out a group of investors who gambled on a risky investment. No state has ever done that. Child safety is at risk with the positions the department believed are needed but eliminated. And we're also underfunding parental assistance and public health home visiting. The unrelated abortion ban that sets an arbitrary time limit does not even take into account rape, incest, or fetal health, and it turns doctors into criminals. Finally, this version of House Bill 2 still includes the divisive concepts language, which I believe still has constitutional problems. It will interfere with the recommendations of the Governor's Lee Act Commission. It's opposed by all sectors of the state's community, including our faith communities, largest school districts, businesses, social service agencies, and even the child advocate. So for these reasons, I will not be voting for House Bill 2. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Rosenwald. Further discussion? Senator Susie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once again, I would echo the comments of my colleague from Nashua who spent so much time working on this document with so many others in this room. However, I too will have to vote against House Bill 2 for the reasons that she's previously stated, but in particular because of the injection of policy decisions. Other pieces of legislation that should not have been incorporated into House Bill 2, such as House Bill 625, creating the abortion ban, and most notably House Bill 544, particularly since the version of that, I think, will lead to even greater confusion, greater difficulties in our state, and really sends a poor message given the wide array of people that have stated their opposition to the legislation. So for those reasons, I too will be voting against this bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Susie. Any further discussion? Senator Bradley.
First of all, could I move to divide the question on the interest and dividends pieces so that I can take Rule 625?
So moved.
And now, can I speak to the
Yes.
overall bill? So several things I think bear a response. The lowering of the business enterprise tax and the business profits tax will help hardworking families that need the employment that New Hampshire employers provide. And over the last several years, we have made New Hampshire one of the most competitive states in the country to bring a business to and to grow in New Hampshire. It's helped us provide revenue that is paying for a dental benefit, paying for mental health services, paid to help prevent child abuse and neglect. This budget has significant new resources for property tax relief. I think Senator Ricciardi has done a great job of articulating the need for property tax relief, and between her efforts and the efforts of all of you on the Finance Committee, whether it's more money for roads and bridges or water or the statewide property tax or the rooms and meals tax and other things, it's a significant amount of money that taxpayers across the state are going to benefit from. In terms of education savings accounts, The number that the Finance Committee is carrying for the transition grants is nominal in the overall context of the budget. But what's not nominal are the fact that people of modest means in New Hampshire are going to have more choices for where they send their kids to school. And if anything, the pandemic has shown us, it's that kids need better opportunities to thrive. There'll probably not be as many kids that take this up as some people want to claim, similar to the take-up rate of charter schools and homeschooling, but it provides another option. And lastly, there's been some discussion about the amendment 1770. And let me just be very clear about a couple of things, since I had quite a bit to do in the drafting of the amendment. There is nothing, absolutely nothing in this amendment that will limit in any way the discussion that our state or our nation should be having about the historical events or current events that involve racism or any other sexism, homophobia, that type of thing. What it does say is that if you have certain characteristics that you are born with, it will be discrimination if you are held in training or in education by public, and I want to stress that, public employers, that you're innately inferior or superior, that will be seen as discrimination. And I would hope that we would all believe that the characteristics we are born with, we're all equal, and one is not superior or inferior or inherently racist or sexist based on characteristics that we are born with. That's what it says. For people to misinterpret that, I would hope that over the next few days, they read it carefully, because we're updating the discrimination statutes, and that's all this is. And it's high time that we make sure that those characteristics that we're born with are not the subject of discrimination. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Bradley. Further discussion. Senator Morse.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you for all you've done for us during this process. I want to thank you, and I want to thank LBA. You know, it's been some long days and into nights, and I think in your case, in my case, it's early mornings, but I really do appreciate everything you've done. But I couldn't be prouder of the consideration and deliberation that's happened. You know, Cindy and Donna today, Lou, it's not like we didn't work through issues. We may not have agreed on everything we're going to fund, but the reality is, I think I know where the biggest discrepancy is. And that's just one thing that when you're weighing on so many competing interests, it's never going to be easy. And I think we all listen to the public, and I think we all come up with our own conclusions. But I think from the beginning, I made it clear that our priorities were going to be tax reductions. And in this case, with this budget, we funded the essential needs of the state, but we also agreed with the House that we should send $100 million back to our taxpayers. And on top of that, I think in the rooms and meals tax, we're sending back another 188 million, of which 50 million of that is new money going back to the taxpayers. So our budget also emphasized helping small businesses through the tax cuts, providing more educational opportunities for low-income families, helping citizens deal with mental health and addiction issues, and protecting our treasured natural resources and environment, and dedicating more money to making sure that we have clean drinking water in the state of New Hampshire. I'm proud of all of you and your efforts. Building a budget is never an easy thing, but the reality is, I think this is a good one, and I obviously will support it.
Thank you, Senator Morse. Further discussion? Seeing none, the vote for us is the adoption of Amendment 1799. We'll call roll. Senator Morse,
Yes.
Senator Hennessy, Senator Susie,
No,
Senator Reagan, Senator Bradley.
I had thought we were dividing. the
I'm
question.
sorry. We did, the chair rules that it is divisible. What we're voting on now is everything except interest and dividends. So we'll restart the vote. So everything except the interest and dividends.
And that's how I thought we were voting. Yes.
Well, that's what I intended for clarification. Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator Susie,
no,
Senator Reagan, Senator Bradley,
Yes, thank you.
Senator Rosenwald.
No,
The chair votes yes. And the motion on everything except interest and dividends carries on a 5-2 vote. And now we'll take up the interest and dividends reduction. Senator Morse,
Yes.
Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator Susie,
no,
Senator Reagan. Yes. Senator Bradley,
Rule 625.
Rule 625, Senator Rosenwald.
no,
And the chair votes yes, and the motion carries 4-1.
two,
I'm sorry,
4, no, 2.
4-2.
4-2, okay. I guess I took the rule as abstaining. With that, I would like to add to Senator Morse's comments, very hearty thanks to LBA for all that they have done, the hours that they have put in, particularly within the last couple of days. And I hope going forward, you might be able to catch up on some sleep. The department is an integral part of making sure that we can do things in an organized manner here. And please extend to your staff our very hearty thanks for that. I would also like to extend thanks to our assistant Deb Martone. I understand.
Hey, Deb.
I understand it was just a couple days ago that she got finished reading the 61 pages of hearing notes from our public hearing on the budget. So that should be available or soon for the reading pleasure. With that,
Mr. Chairman, can I just make
Senator Bradley.
one announcement? Senator Rosenwald and I were approached by the Commissioner of Health and Human Services a couple of hours ago with a possible amendment. It wouldn't necessarily have to be in the budget, it could be in another bill dealing with the involuntary admission recent Supreme Court ruling. I've asked John Williams to put the language that they sent to us on the department website so that anybody that's interested can have access to that language, and we'll have to figure out where we go from there. But at least people who are interested in it will be able to see it, and then we'll figure out where we go.
Okay, thank you. And again, I'd like to extend my thanks to the Cindy. Senator Rosenwald.
Thank you. I'd just like to add to what Senator Bradley just said, that I did speak with both Commissioner Shivanet and him, and told him that I would be happy to work with him on how we can schedule a public hearing on this policy change.
Okay, thank you. And I trust that somebody will keep us informed of that process.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Again, thank you to the committee for all their diligence and hard work. Thank you for Senator Rosenwald and Senator D'Alessandro for joining us via Zoom when they couldn't be here personally. It was certainly nice to be back together and do things. And thank you, Senator Susie, for filling in amply for Senator D'Alessandro in his absence. And for you, Senator Bradley, for filling in for Senator Gaida. Senator Rosenwald.
Thank you. I would also like to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your courteous and gracious management of the committee through the process.
Thank you, Senator Rosenwald. So just one final note, as we take off for the weekend, please keep in mind those who have served, lost their lives. And, Memorial Day is for them to remember all the gifts of freedom that they have brought to us. And so as we're enjoying the day, let's take the moment to duly recognize their service and sacrifice. With that, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, yeah, so Deb reminds me that we have a budget briefing that is going to begin on Tuesday at 2:00. And that will be in the Senate Reps Hall. And people can zoom in. The information will be posted on the website as it usually is. Okay, I heard a motion to adjourn. I wasn't sure. who made it.
Second.
Senator Rosenwald, thank
Yes.
you. Seconded by Senator Hennessy. Call roll, Senator Morse, Senator Hennessy, Senator Susie.
Yes.
Senator Reagan, Senator Bradley,
Yes.
Senator Rosenwald,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes, and we will be adjourned. Thank you very much.